Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we are going over those single record-breaking comic books of the week. You guys already know what it is. These are the single big sales on some comic books, and certainly ones to be on the lookout for. Remember, I am no financial person, so take this with a grain of salt. Spend your money on things that you want to spend them on, not because somebody on the internet told you to. Don't forget also, if you guys did not watch my last video, holy smokes, I am giving away this Avengers Annual number 10, the first appearance of Rogue. This is a really cool comic book. It's a CGC graded newsstand edition, and it's a 7.5. So it's really cool. To be entered to this contest, all you guys have to do is leave a comment down below, like the video, and be a subscriber. There's going to be multiple chances to enter this, so every time you guys see this comic book and I mention this, you can enter into this giveaway on that video. And once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do one of those videos randomly, and then I'm going to do a random comment generator to see who's the winner. And maybe I'll do that live. I've been kind of thinking about that. I've never done a live video, so that's actually kind of scary because I tend to mess things up on what I say. So that actually would probably be pretty funny. But also, you can only comment one time. Just leave one comment on each video that you guys see this. So that's it. If you guys leave two comments, like one comment and then you comment again, the generator will not pick you because you could only enter one comment. But if you leave a comment inside of that comment, that's okay. You guys can message back to me if you want inside the comment. That's totally fine. You just can't, put like 10 messages. That'd be so unfair. That's why I do it like that. But without further ado, let's get right into this one. So, first up on the list, man, this is a super, super cool comic. I love the cover of this. We got Journey into Mystery number 118. I love that cover. Certain Thor issues, I think they're really, really cool. And this is just one where the cover is just amazing to me. This is the first appearance and cover of the Destroyer. This is just like a really cool issue. And I had a chance to own one a little while back, but unfortunately, I did not buy it, but I don't really regret that because it's just a cool issue, and I think that one day I will own it. We had a 9.4. Not Sell sends all the way back in 2016 for $2,600. That's up 177% this week, now going for $7,200. So certainly an issue that is on the rise, but that's a long time for it not to sell, but it's still good to see it jump that kind of value. This is a really cool issue and something that, if you guys wanted to own this one, it would be a pretty cool one to own. This is a great cover, just in my opinion. So it's something that would be cool to kind of display on your wall. But also it's going to gain value over time. So definitely a pretty good investment in my opinion. Next up on the list, we've got Journey into Mystery number 119. Pretty interesting. This is the first appearance of the Warriors, and it's also the second appearance of the Destroyer. With Thor right around the corner, there's certainly going to be a lot of speculation on everything, and certainly some things that could really pay off in the short term. But I also think that there's a bigger contract. We're going to see a lot of Thor, and we're going to see a lot of Thor movies, meaning that his comic books are probably really, really worth owning because there's a better chance that we're going to see somebody of importance from the comic books. So we had a 9.4 last sell in 2011 for $1,427. That's up 489% this week, now going for $8,400. Man, that's actually a pretty good increase, but that is a long time for it not to sell, 11 years. But that's a great investment, and that's a lot of growth in that amount of time, even if it's been a long time. Next up on the list, we've got Astonishing Tales number 25. You gotta love that cover. And this, of course, is the first appearance and cover appearance of Deathlock. It's also the first appearance of Major Riker, and it's just a really, really cool issue. This is also one that George Perez worked on. It's his first published artwork for Marvel. So, man, this issue has a lot going for it. Unfortunately, George Perez did pass away, so that's probably why this is on the list. But that's okay. This is just a really cool issue, and it's really not that expensive, especially in lower grades. Now, I've been hearing kind of rumors for a while that we're going to see Deathlock, but we still haven't seen anything yet. So this is certainly an issue that could be worth owning, especially because it's not really that expensive to be invested into it. So it's certainly something that if I can find a good deal for a higher grade, I'll probably invest in it. Maybe like a 7.5 to a 9.0, somewhere in that range, unless I can get a good deal. Who knows? But still, this is a really cool comic. We had a 3.5, last sell in 2018 for $50. That's up 94% this week, now going for $97. So really not a crazy hike in price, but there's reason why it's growing because of George Perez, of course. Unfortunately, his passing. He seemed like a really nice guy. I wish I could have met him. Same with Stan Lee, but I never got to. That's okay. You know, things happen, but yeah, it's still a sad one to see. Next up on the list, we got Strange Tales number 110. And of course, holy smokes, we see this one on the list all the time. This is the first appearance of Doctor Strange, the Ancient One, Wong, and it's also the first cameo appearance of Nightmare, who honestly was kind of speculated to be in Doctor Strange, but, you know, we never got to see him. Oh, well. We had a 4.5 last sell in just last week for $5,760. That's already up 25% this week, now going for $7,200. This is a really great issue, one that is way out of my price range, but it's still a really, really great comic. If you wait a little bit, 6 months, it's going to drop. It's not going to drop a lot, certainly because, Doctor Strange is a very, very popular character. But yes, it's going to drop a little, and that's when I would really pick it up. But it's a lot of money, so it's a lot of investment in this. I do see it trickling up a little, but I don't know how much more room this one really has to grow. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Next up on the list, we got Showcase number 60. And man, this is just a really, really cool issue. This is the first appearance of Spectre in the Silver Age. It's also the first appearance of Asmodeus. So this is a really cool comic. We had a 9.0 last sell in February for $576. That's up 41% this week, now going for $810. Just a really cool issue, a really cool cover. I really love that cover. Honestly, that is one that cover is just awesome to me. I would own that comic book just for the cover alone, and it's something that I'm not actively looking for, but man, if I can find one, I am holding on to that bad boy. I'm going to add that onto the wall. Next up, we got Tales to Astonish number 36. This is the second appearance of Ant-Man. This is a really cool issue, and Ant-Man's a really, really popular character, and I feel like those covers are just really cool. I love seeing like the big people and then just like, small little Ant-Man there, just like on there. But yeah, this is a really cool issue. Certainly one that, if I had the chance to own, I would own it and just hold off onto it for a while. But we had a 5.5 last sell in 2021 for $400. That's up 48% this week, now going for $590. So certainly an issue to kind of be on the lookout for, especially with Ant-Man 3, getting worked on. It's going to be right around the corner. So this one could take off a little bit, but you never know. This is a really cool issue, and, it would be one that I would be pretty happy to own. Next up, we got Superman number 24. This is a really cool cover issue. Those old Supermans are really awesome. For, the older ones, they were so simple. They were just simply put together, and still they're just really, really cool old issues. This one, we had a 2.5. Last saw all the way back in 2018 for $657. That's up 74% this week, now going for $1,140. So definitely those early Supermans are really cool to own. Yeah, it took that long for it to go up that much, but that's still a great return for the investment. So those early Supermans are definitely worth owning. This isn't like a key first appearance, so it's not like we're gonna get somebody in the movies and it's gonna take off in value. It's just valuable for what it is. That cover art's amazing, and it's just a cool early Superman. Next up, we got Batman number 67. And man, that's a cool cover. I love that, like, the rope and then Robin and Batman. Those old Batman 2s. 2. Man, those are just awesome. I love seeing like Batman's old, the way they used to draw him and Robin, like those Golden Age ones. Man, money. One day I will own a lower grade issue of something, but those are just really cool issues and awesome covers. This is the first appearance of Brain Taylor, the Batman from the 31st century who was inspired by the heroics of Batman from the past. A 4.0, last sold in 2017 for $372. That's up 42% this week, now going for $530. So really not a big increase in value, but man, those early Batman covers, just like the early Superman ones, are really cool, but the Batman ones, the Detective Comics ones, those are awesome. Next up on the list, speaking of cool covers, we got X-Men number 56. Man, this is a cool cover. This is an iconic cover by Neil Adams, and of course, unfortunately, he did pass. This is when the living pharaoh becomes the living monolith, and it's so cool. He's reaching up and grabbing the X-Men symbol. That is so awesome. But yeah, this is a really cool issue. We had a 9.4 last sell in April for $545. That's up 65% this week, now going for $900. This is a pretty cool issue, and certainly something that I could see taking off in value if we see, his appearance, just because it's such an iconic cover. It might be a little high right now because Neil Adams, unfortunately passed away. Rest in peace, sir. But yeah, it might be a little high right now just because of that. But it's just still a wonderful issue to own. Even if you bought it right now, I feel like that's a great investment. But I feel like it will trickle down a little bit in the next couple months. So I would wait if you want to invest in that for then and see if you can get it for a good price. Next up on the list, man, another great cover. Man, this is a crazy cover. We got Crime Suspense Stories number 23, and just look at that. That is insane. How they got away with that is just nuts to me. This is just... it's for its cover art. That's the only reason that this is on the list. And it's crazy cover art. We had a 2.0 last sell in June for $265. That's up 54% this week, now going for $407. So that is really not that expensive for that crazy cover. Honestly, if I was gonna get a horror cover, this is something like this. Honestly, if I was going to get a horror cover, something like this is what I would get, because, man, that's just raunchy. I can't believe they put that on there. It's a good investment. It's a good investment for the long term because it's only going to have more and more shock value as we go into the future. So definitely a cool issue to own, and definitely one that I'd be owning. Next up on the list, we got Plastic Man number 1. This is the first appearance of Plastic Man, son of the original Plastic Man. So this is a really cool issue. But we had a 9.4 last sell in 2020 for $512. That's up 164% this week. There was a Boston pedigree that sold. If you don't know what that is, there's certain pedigrees of collections that comic books were a part of, and they call it that kind of pedigree. And they tend to be worth a little bit more if they're in those pedigrees, which doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. I don't really care, whose collection is, unless it was in somebody's really cool collection. Like if Stan Lee's collection went up for sale and this was like, oh, this was a Stan Lee pedigree, that would be really cool because that was owned by Stan Lee. I mean, that's awesome. But something like this, it's wishy-washy. It's whatever to me, but that's just me. You guys, maybe a lot of you like that. That's cool. Totally down with that. But like I said, we had a 9.4 last sell in 2020 for $512. And that's up 164% this week, now going for $1,350. So it's hard to tell because of that Boston pedigree. It's a comic worth owning. But look to see what the fair market value of it is, because this is certainly a character that we could see in the future. You never know what we're going to see nowadays because everybody's trying to make a superhero movie, and who knows? They're going to start running out of superhero movies to make. Next up on the list, we've got All Flash number 2. This is the origin of the Flash retold. We had a 4.5, last sell in 2006 for $512. That's up 61% this week, now going for $825. So this is a really cool issue. However, that is not a lot of an increase for, that amount of time. That's 16 years, and it's only gone up 61%. It's still a really, really cool cover, but issue. This is still a really cool issue, but I'd be weary on it because that's really not that much growth for me. That I'd need to see a lot more than that. So one that's cool to own for what it is, but be a little tampered on it because there's no really first appearances in it. But still, it's a cool issue. Next up, we got Tales of Suspense number 46. I do love these old Iron Man covers. They're so awesome. They're so iconic. This is the first appearance of Crimson Dynamo. And it's also the second appearance of Pepper Potts, and it's the second appearance of Happy Hogan. It's weird. Even their first appearances really aren't worth that much with Hogan and Pepper. But still, this is a really cool issue. We had a 7.5 last sell in January for $675. That's already up 25% this week. Now go for $845. So this is definitely an issue worth owning. This is something really cool. And like I said, I really like those older Iron Mans. Just the covers really pop, and the context of them are just really cool. I love those kind of, older issues. So certainly one that I would own if I could find for the right price, just because, it's a really cool issue. Next up, we got another early Batman. Man, we got Batman number 20. Look at that cover. Man, this is the first appearance of the Batmobile, and it's just crashing right through the comic. That is so cool. The Batmobile is so iconic, and I really actually did like the one in the new The Batman. I thought they did a good job with it, and it was actually pretty interesting. We had a 1.8. Last saw all the way back in 2013 for $290. That's up 279% this week, now going for $1,100. This is an issue 100% worth owning. I'd be happy to own a 1.8. I'd be happy to own a 0.5 as long as that cover was visible and it was complete. Yeah, absolutely. This is a really, really cool issue. Something that if you can get a good deal on, or if, even if you paid fair market value, I feel like that's still good. This is so cool to be able to say you have a comic book with the first Batmobile. How many people can say that, really? That's awesome. This is one that it's always kind of been on my radar. I just haven't owned one because I really try to get a deal on anything that, I buy, because if something happens, at least I can, like in my personal life, if something happens, at least I can sell the comic and, get money back for it. So I kind of just hold off on issues for that reason. But this is a really, really great one, and definitely one that I say is worth owning for any span of time, short term or long term. It's a really cool comic. Next up, we got Four Colors number 386. This is the first appearance of Uncle Scrooge headlining title. So that's a pretty cool comic. Certainly one, I would say it's worth owning, definitely, because I could see it going up in value if anything, comes out of Uncle Scrooge. We had a 5.0 last sell in 2016 for $696. That's up 39% this week, now going for $965. So like I said, it's a comic book worth owning. Nothing for the short term, but for the long term, it's a great issue. Next up, we got Ghost Rider number 29. This is the first meeting of Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange. A lot of people are speculating that we're going to see Ghost Rider in Doctor Strange. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I'm not going to give away anything, whether he is or isn't in it, but yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens with the future of the MCU. We had a 9.8 last sell all the way back in 2004 for $154. That's up 419% this week, now going for $800. So that is a big increase, and this is a cool issue. And if anything happens, I could see this one really taking off in value. So this is the one that I would be buying if you can look up the fair market value and try to get a little bit of a deal on it. This is an issue worth owning because who knows, one day we could see this, and that would be really, really cool. Next up, we got Fantastic Four number 16. And I love two things about this cover, and it's nothing has to do with Fantastic Four. I don't know why. I just love seeing, like, you know, Ant-Man on the magnifying glass because you can't even see him. And then Doctor Doom just being giant, holding everyone. This is an awesome, awesome issue. And this is definitely one that I've been looking for a while, but I just haven't, again, found the right priced one so that I can just hold on to it and feel comfortable holding on to it. One day I will, though. This is actually the fourth appearance of Doctor Doom. It's the third appearance of the Wasp, and it's the first appearance of Ant-Man outside of the Tales to Astonish title series. So definitely an issue that has a lot going for it, especially that cover, too. The cover has a lot going for it. We had a 5.0 last sell it back in January for $500. Already up 45% this week. Now going for $725. Again, this is an issue really worth owning for a lot of different reasons. Man, if we see Doctor Doom, there are so many comic books that are going to take off because of Doctor Doom. I would really love to see Doctor Doom be that, like, huge main villain because he has been in the comic books for so long. Look at Secret Wars and everything like that. He's the main villain for both Secret Wars. Man, he's just an awesome character, and I really, really can't wait to see him. Comic books with him are always going to hold their value until we do see him, and then they're just going to take off even more. He's just that popular of a villain. So definitely, anything with Doctor Doom is definitely worth owning, especially because we know Fantastic Four are coming. He's just going to keep taking off in value. That's going to do it for this week's Single Record Breakers. Don't forget, I'm doing this completely free giveaway right here. Oh, and also, if you guys were ever curious about the equipment that I use, it's going to be down below in the comment section. There's going to be Amazon links down there to let you know what kind of microphone I use, what kind of camera I use, what kind of lens, and these little stands, these comic book stands, which, you know, I keep all my comic books on. They're actually really nice, and I think they're really cool. They also double as book stands, so you can put books on here too, so that's, you know, that's pretty sweet. But they're rubberized, so they don't damage anything, so they're actually really nice. But don't forget, yes, this giveaway for this comic book, leave a like, drop a comment down below, anything. You can comment anything, just don't leave multiple messages. You can leave messages inside of that message, but don't leave multiple messages or else you won't be entered. And please be a subscriber. I really appreciate all of you. Holy smokes. But at 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to go through all these videos where you guys see this comic book, and I'm going to draw one of those videos and then do a random comment generator to pick a winner. Thank you all so much. Click on one of these videos. You can subscribe right here, of course, anytime. Speaking of time, until next time, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.